Welcome back to Duel of the Debates, where we're going to kill everybody. I'm Danny.
We're going to unalive a lot of people. I'm Dan.
Oh, yeah, we should say, because you were talking about there's certain words you can't.
Algorithms.
Yeah. Welcome back, Tom and John. Week 2 of your 3-week stay here on Duel of the Debates. John's been on before. Tom, this is your second time here. Welcome back. We love having you guys.
Thank you. Let's
get to it. I really hope that got in there. Motherfucker in the background. All right. We have a very relevant episode today. It is Tom Cruise week, but not for the reason you think. So, worst Tom Cruise movie, guys. So, there are a lot of bad ones. I mean, the one I would probably have to pick would be like Mission Impossible 2. That movie is dog shit.
I thought you were going to say one of the movies you picked. I was like, motherfucker.
No, not one of the ones you guys picked. So let's go around right now, though. Danny, what'd you pick?
I picked a little-known movie called Night and Day. Night and Day.
All right.
Hey, dude. It's a beautiful dress. Let's check it.
John, what'd you pick?
Jack Reacher 2.
That's right. Maybe I rip your arm off and beat you to death with it. I'm sorry about this.
And Tom, what'd you pick?
I picked The Mummy Remake.
Oh, boy. Okay.
Technically, it's the second remake.
Oh, God. You gotta be nerd like that. You gotta be like that. All right, sure. Yeah.
The Mummy 2017.
Starring Tom Cruise.
All right, guys. Yeah, they tried to make like a whole monsterverse out of that. It was weird. Anyway.
I got notes.
Yeah, Danny, we're going to start with you anyway, so sweet. You're on the clock.
All right. So last week I alluded to this. Talk about a movie that gives you nothing and still asks you to like Tom Cruise after. Oh, he's a charming spy. Hold on, he's a charming spy that's on the run from an organization. He has the MacGuffin that needs to have a quirky love-hate relationship with Cameron Diaz, his damsel in distress. It's stupid. This is just disposable. I feel like I gained nothing and lost 2 hours of my life. Oh, wait. Tom Cruise is charming? What? A rogue spy? Not to mention Cameron Diaz in this movie is insane. He kills everybody on a plane, including the pilots, and Cameron Diaz is just like, yeah, whatever. He's hot. I like. Then he crash lands the plane in a cornfield. Doesn't bat an eye. She's like, I'm a little buzzed right now. And then she gets drugged. Not a problem. It's an average Tuesday for her, Absolutely insane, stupid movie. Fuck you, James Payne.
All right. Sounds like they just, send it in there.
I don't actually mean.
Moving on to John.
That's one sucks.
You're on the clock.
So, full transparency, I was going to do Jack Reacher 1, but then as I was watching the movie, it offered Jack Reacher 2. I was like, I didn't even know this movie existed. Watched it, couldn't tell you a single thing that has happened in the movie. I can't remember anything. Bland action. And I'll get into it with you guys, but the reason this is the worst Tom Cruise movie is because this is a movie that Tom Cruise should not have been in. For those who don't know, Jack Reacher is a military police officer who goes around doing investigations. He is huge. He is in the books and in the TV show. He's at least 6'6", 240, a full-on unit. Who they get? Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise. So there's a lot of stuff that happens in the movie that doesn't make sense because Tom Cruise is doing it. And not for nothing, Jack Reacher is a very stoic, plain, straight-to-the-point guy. That's not Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise is all this. He's jumping on couches. He loves it. So he's very charismatic, and he was the wrong choice for the movie. And again, I'll get into it.
He'll never escape.
All right.
He'll never escape that couch. Do you think he has that couch?
Maybe.
He's got to have that couch.
Will you figs?
All right, Tom. Mummy time. You're on the clock.
Okay, so this film, as you alluded to, was intended to be Universal Studios' first film in the Dark Universe franchise, but because of poor critical and box office reception, the entire universe was canceled. So that should tell you how fucking terrible this movie is, number one. Number two, this movie totally demystifies the idea of a mummy. It starts out with this scary undead mummy, and then it immediately becomes like the sexy mummy, which is just bizarre and stupid. the film tries to tie itself together with using Russell Crowe as Dr. Jekyll, and that just completely falls flat. Tom Cruise plays a jarhead, and he's way more intelligent than that, so it doesn't work. Also, this film has nothing to do with Brendan Fraser. I miss Brendan Fraser. He was the main character in those 3 films. Where did he go? No explanation. It sucks.
All right. Rebuttal round, boys. Danny, you're on the clock.
Okay. The Mummy, it's fine. Everyone's just memeing on it. It's like the humor's there. There's the adventure. Brendan Fraser's version that it was like the base, and I think this one build on top of it. It improved action and effects. It does a pretty good job at setting things up in a few interesting directions, like having Tom Cruise be undead and actually make him into the monster at the end and kind of like an anti-hero type thing. I have more to say later, but I'm not gonna mess up like last time, not mention your movie.
Damn it.
Okay, the first thing I thought about, and I kept thinking this watching this entire movie, Captain America, the Winter Soldier. Kobe Smulders, first of all, because she's in Marvel. Tom Cruise and her being on the run after being framed. Classic spy conspiracy plot that works very well in this movie. It also has a very solid cast, often that kind of gets overshadowed by a lot of people. There's Aldous Hodge, Robert Nipper, who played Teabag in Prison Break. Fucking awesome performance. Holt McCallany. The chemistry between the leads is great, too.
All right. John, you're on the clock.
So again, this is the worst Tom Cruise movie. The Mummy, bad movie, period. It had nowhere to go. It didn't matter who you had as the actor. It had to get rewritten 6 times, had a bunch of different directors, delayed a bunch. The company was more worried about making a cinematic universe than making a good movie. So no matter what you did, that movie was not going to go anywhere. Night and Day, again, Tom Cruise, better because he's doing charismatic stuff. Their connection with him and Cameron Diaz, actually like a good, believable chemistry there. Better action scenes. Jack the Reacher had nothing. And then when we get into the free-for-all, I can literally go into scenes about how picking Tom Cruise did not make any sense, and it immediately takes you out of the movie. Whereas, and again, Night and Day, you good over there? What are you doing?
Just trying to fix my mic.
Okay, that's how good the argument is. It's throwing your mic out of play. Night and Day is just mid. It's not bad. It's not one of his worst movies. That's Jack Reacher 2. Night and Day's mid. The Mummy is just a bad movie, flat, no shot.
Good timing. All right. Tom, rebuttal time. You're on the clock.
See, I would say Jack Reacher is mid and Night and Day is just a bad film. Jack Reacher is a bad film with good Tom Cruise moments throughout. I think Tom Cruise works as a solo action hero in most things he does. Night and Day, on the other hand, it's the second Tom Cruise movie where him and Cameron Diaz star. First one was Vanilla Sky. I think they have incredible chemistry together. Even though in this film wasn't always portrayed in the best, I still think him and Cameron Diaz work on screen. And also, Night and Day cost $117 million to make, and they made $262 million. So at least it was a commercial success.
Yeah.
And that's my argument.
I didn't look at that.
All right.
This guy knows what he's doing.
All right, guys. Time for free-for-all.
So you mentioned combat. Can we let me get into it? Let me get into it.
Please do. Please do.
Where the fuck is everyone?
No.
So right off the rip, the very open, and this kind of portrays how the whole movie's going to go. The first scene, it's a diner. 2 dudes are on the ground, beat up. Everyone's looking around them. Cop shows up. Cop says, which one of you has ran this guy over? That's how bad these 2 dudes are beat up. Then they cut to Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise ain't doing nothing to no one. Not for nothing. Hang on. Whoa.
You can't argue that.
Yes, I can. Let me finish my
point.
point.
You don't have time. There's no timer.
Yeah, you're right. There's
free for all,
timer.
motherfucker.
So, yes, I can argue it because Tom Cruise is a bad pick. It's not believable. For someone who's been in so many action movies, he has 0 actual training. All of his fights...
He's in all the action movies.
Let me finish. He refuses to learn any martial art. All of his fighting scenes are the same classic fucking heavy haymaker, pause,
Windmills.
heavy haymaker, pause, cutscene, because he refuses to learn anything. Keanu Reeves would have been a better pick because he actually knows martial arts. The guy from the Jack Reacher TV show would be a better pick because A, he knows martial arts, and he fits the physical size as well as his overall demeanor. Not to mention, what else do I have here? Oh, yeah. This is great. Again, So for some reason, they're on an airplane. I don't remember why. So they're on an airplane, and Jack Reacher picks up, hey, that guy is a spy or a military cop, whatever. I don't remember. And he's like, this guy is coming after me. So he sits down in the airplane next to him. And he looks at him, and this guy's like, uh-oh. So he literally does a side punch and knocks him out. That's impossible. The guy has no muscle bound. First off, all your generation from a punch comes from a forward momentum, from your shoulder, hip, all that. This does nothing. So there's no shot. Tiny-ass Tom Cruise is not going to do that with a side punch. Not to mention, not for nothing, again, we're talking about combat. Tom Cruise phoned that shit in. You look at his firearm handling, for someone who's been in a million movies, he just didn't give a single fuck. I'm talking dish cup with the pistol. No one does that anymore. He's grabbing rifles. He's shooting it from the shoulder. He's a military guy. He shouldn't be doing this. He should have way more training, but because Tom Cruise this is a sequel, Tom Cruise did not give a single fuck about this movie.
I can say the same thing though. He's doing the same shit in Night and Day.
But again, it's a charismatic.
It's still him shooting it. He's still a fucking spy and shit.
I watched his firearm handling, and that is way better. I swear to God, I watch it. I'm not making it up. No. First, you're a military guy. No one does this. No one does the saucer. No one does saucer
on a plane where he kills everybody.
But that action scene alone,
it's fucking stupid.
But exactly,
and she's in the bathroom.
Exactly.
Oh my god.
That
and
movie
she's like,
is
we crash landed the plane. No big deal.
That movie is
what the fuck?
That movie is like Fast and Furious level of like cheesy comedy, stupid popcorn movie. This is just so bad.
It doesn't do enough of that. It's abduction.
He acted more in that movie than
No, he's just like, I'm cool.
That's Tom Cruise.
At least in Jack Reacher, he had
tell us about the mummy.
Okay, so
Jesus Christ,
we have way more to lose. Night and Day and Jack Reacher 2 are two films that are just complete, just bullshit nonsense IP that does not matter.
Not necessarily. Amazon Prime did it right. It's a top grossing TV show. Even if you did it as a movie with the correct actor and not Tom Cruise, it could have been good.
Jack Reacher is fine, but The Mummy is a historic horror film, a Universal Studios classic that was then adapted into a hit 90s, early 2000s action series, and then just totally destroyed.
Exactly. It had nowhere to go.
You can't say that there's no like evolution or that you can't touch that property because they already did in the 90s and they already made it great. They did this. They built on top of that in 2017. Danny, it's really good.
Go ahead.
It has to be the worst Tom Cruise movie because it had the most to lose. This film torpedoed what would have been a multi-billion-dollar franchise.
I don't think it has anything to do with the actual movie. Sure, the movies. It's fine. It's good enough to start this universe. I'm surprised they didn't get at least 2 or 3 out.
No, let's be real. The movie's bad.
No, it's terrible. The trailer,
and that's why they torpedoed the universe.
But it's that
whole marketing campaign because the trailer got released early. Everyone was like, "This movie's going to be fucking shit." They got it in their heads that this is going to be a shit movie, and then they didn't go and they shit all over it. They piled on with the memes.
Even if you took the trailer out of it, the movie is bad.
It's a classic example of catastrophic example of marketing.
Franchise trying to get a money grab. Look at any other movie.
They did something different, though.
No, they didn't. Look at every other movie that has done a reboot sequel 20 years after the fact. White Man Can't Jump, whatever the fuck with the rapper. I forget his name. Space Jam, Dumb and Dumber 3. There's a bunch of movies that all these franchises have done, all these Hollywood product companies have done, and they were all bad. They had nowhere to go. Mummy, again.
The Mummy did have somewhere to go.
No, it didn't.
If you
look
had
at the
everywhere to go. It was the jumping off point of
but
the
it was
series.
screwed from the jump. It had a bunch of different directors came in. It got delayed. 6 different writers, which is why tonally it didn't make sense.
This is the background story of everything.
Yes, and that's why the movie
itself
Here's the deal.
It's not specifically a Tom Cruise bad movie. It's a bad movie because of corporate greed and everything that came alongside it. The plane scene, I will say,
all these movies have shitty plane scenes.
The same reason he runs in all of his movies, dog. That's how he is.
But Tom Cruise,
he runs the most in The Mummy. Just say
Tom Cruise loves to jump out of planes and do all that bullshit. But here's the deal: when years from now, when Tom Cruise dies, and people look back at his filmography and they say, "What was the worst picture he did?" it has to be The Mummy because that had the most writing on it. And it was not
that. But
Can I make a counter argument real quick? Raise your hand if you knew there was a sequel to Jack Reacher 2. Or if there was a sequel to Jack Reacher.
I did not know there was a sequel.
I also did not.
I did know this.
The fact that most people don't
because
know
I liked
that
the first Jack Reacher for what it was.
Why?
Because I didn't understand too much of because I think
because you can't appreciate good action.
I think the reason I like the John Wick movies. I think the reason that the Reacher
John Wick
show
is amazing.
is so much better in comparison is because that team is very, very creative. They know exactly how to work with those books. I think Tom Cruise, he has a way of he did his own take on it.
Yeah, and it was
I
bad.
think it was
bad because he's a charismatic actor. This was phoned in for Tom.
No,
All right,
so
all
is
right.
Alan
Let me
Richardson.
get this one line out.
And
he was on the phone with a bad guy, and I looked the scene up because I won't do it justice. He's on the phone, and he goes, and this isn't like him trying to be deadpan. He's not trying to be cold and like stony. He's literally like, I'm going to enjoy the sound of you choking on your teeth. Like he was reading it off a script. He didn't care. It was a cash grab. There was no emotion.
You're telling me that Night and Day isn't?
No,
This
it's
is
not.
stupidest
The
fucking movie.
he cared way more.
But it
He
has
put
Cameron
way
Diaz.
more.
Speaking of Night and Day, let's hear
He's not
more
that
about
great
that
either.
movie from Danny's point of view. I need to hear more from that.
Cameron.
It's just so fucking insane and it's so
Exactly.
stupid. There's nothing.
Exactly.
There's
It's so
nothing of
insane. It's a
substance
popcorn movie.
there.
She gets drugged like 5 times. It just
It's
wakes up in
so
different scenes.
Middle of the road. It's like, let's make a rom-com with Tom Cruise. You could literally put
Is that what the
anybody-
producer did?
Yes.
Is that what they did in
Yes.
the meeting? With this and that? All
yeah.
that?
You could plug in anybody else. You can go with Tom Hardy. You could plug in Chris Pine.
No.
You could plug
No. The
anybody
chemistry
else
would
could
not
play
be the
that
same.
You can't because they do not have that established chemistry with Cameron Diaz. Tom Cruise has that established chemistry.
Yes.
It
Bro,
works.
Jason Segel had chemistry with
No, he
Cameron
didn't.
Diaz.
No, he didn't. Nor would Jason Segel have
Jason
that level of
Segel's not an
chemistry
action
of charisma to play that character.
Bro, he got with
Tom
Mila
Cruise
Kunis. I don't care who you're
is
talking
a
about.
charismatic actor, and he was able to portray that charisma in that movie, in Night and Day. Because
No,
he was able to
in Night and
bounce
Day's
off
just like-
Diaz.
Don't go on the plane.
No, that's what he did in my movie.
Don't go on that plane.
No, he did
There's bad guys.
There was some smile.
Oh, I'm gonna kill everybody. Don't go on the plane. And she's just like, all right, you're hot.
It's like I'm
And then
there. It's like I'm watching.
He
but is
drugs
she
her,
wrong?
and she's
Yes.
like,
Yeah, that's the joke. It's
she doesn't freak out until he's like, get in the car with me. I'm arrested. He crashed a fucking plane with her on it, and she's like, "What are you gonna do with all the bodies? Like, what
Exactly.
the fuck?
This movie is
it's so tonally
the-
it makes no
You're right.
fucking sense.
And it's in that category.
And it's so
the same
stupid.
reason Fast
That's
and
why-
Furious, like when he jumps out of a plane, he catches someone in midair and lands in a
Right,
windshield.
But
It's
that's-
that level
that's
of
the
like
point.
dumb
That's the point of the
popcorn movie.
This one's like, hey, wouldn't it be cool if Tom Cruise fucked Cameron Diaz and just ran away from?
Did they also do that in the
Stellan
pitch?
Skarsgård?
Do they do that in Night and Day?
Do they? Yeah, they fuck.
Oh,
Why does that matter?
Very nice. Very nice.
The Mummy is you're not giving it enough credit. I think everybody's mind is just when they think about this movie, it's so shaped by the awful marketing campaign that unfortunately happened. If that stupid trailer didn't come out, I think this would have been way more well received. Because everyone loves me. Once they get a little blood, they're gonna attack, right? And Tom Cruise also plays against type in The Mummy. He is kind of an asshole, And then he learns to be like a lovable, like sacrificed.
Oh, you mean
anti-hero.
like in that movie with the kid? What's it? Jerry Maguire.
oh yeah.
Yeah, that's not that's what he does. There are several movies where
But-
he is an asshole.
but-
Few Good Men, he was an asshole and then proceeded to be a great lawyer. Huh?
Magnolia.
Thank you.
A trailer does not torpedo a film, Danny.
Yes,
That's
it
not-
does.
It's not.
Yes, it does.
No. It's what killed that film is the fact that people went and saw it and hated it, and then word of mouth spread like it does with a lot of films, like Joker 2. That failed because
shit.
it was a bad film.
It was good. You said you were going to do it.
No.
You see, this guy.
I love. Listen, I love Joker 2.
What?
And I will
Yes.
defend. Yeah. But
This would have been.
This
That
is
would
the
have
right
been.
rest of the argument's gone. Give it.
All right.
to most people,
All right. Off topic, guys.
Okay.
Off topic. Danny, You were talking about that airplane scene in Night and Day.
And that's the
with
first
Cameron
10
Diaz.
minutes. It's so
But you're talking about
insane.
Cameron Diaz. You're not talking about Tom Cruise in that part.
Because he's not really the focus. It's more about her being.
But why
fucking
is it
dumb.
a bad Tom Cruise movie?
Yes.
If you-
Why is it bad Tom
But,
Cruise?
well, if you're going to put this in the filmography of Tom Cruise, you're
Which it
definitely not
is.
going to put this one. Like, oh, when you think Tom Cruise, you're definitely not going to think of Night and Day. You're going to think of The Mummy first.
No, you're not.
Because you're going to be like, Tom Cruise. He was always in The Mummy, right? This one, he's just like, what's that shitty rom-com he did with Cameron Diaz? Night and Day. Fuck that movie.
And again, those same people are going to be like, they
Who's
made
that
a sequel to
iconic character?
Jack Reacher 2.
Who's
They
that
made a sequel to
iconic character
Jack
that he
Reacher?
played? Jack Reacher?
No, in the first, they're going to be like, they made a sequel? The first one was terrible. This is even worse.
First one was good. Second one's good.
No, they're both bad for the same reasons, except
had-
this one was even worse
Jack
because it
Reacher-
was so bland.
It's not a one-to-one
You guys
comparison.
can say scenes in both of your movies. Airplane scene, him running from the cloud. Airplane scene. Both airplane scenes, not a single airplane in this movie. So,
You just said he's on
but
a
it wasn't
fucking
a,
airplane.
it wasn't a scene. It was like a set piece. But that's not my point.
Yeah, but the airplanes don't make it better. Is that what you're trying to argue?
no, my point is that you guys
Well-
can remember stuff from the movie.
Technically,
I
Yeah,
can't
the
remember the
movies-
movie. The movie was so bland that I can't remember anything in the movie. And Tom Cruise, the only thing I remember is how poorly fitting Tom Cruise was in that role because he was because it was a cash grab for him. He did not fit the role either tonally or physically, and he refused to do anything that would better himself for that role. He refuses to do any martial arts skills. He phoned in the firearm skills. All the combat was dog shit like 90s.
that's
cut.
not that particular movie.
Yes, it is.
Not,
It's
not
Jack
a
Reacher
problem for
2.
that particular movie.
Yes, it
That's
is.
just a Tom Cruise ego problem.
No, it's also a problem because it's so prevalent because
does
of
have
the
a
character.
ego.
He does.
Like a crazy ego.
Yeah.
I mean, Scientologist and just a maniac.
Yeah.
The reporter like sprayed him in the face with water, and he grabs like, "Why would you do that? Why would
Yeah.
you do that?"
Yeah.
But even if
forgot
you took his ego out of it, like he does not fit it. He could have done that stuff, yeah. But again,
He did a perfectly serviceable job.
No, he
playing
didn't.
Jack Reacher.
No,
I
he
think
didn't.
I think
That
it's
movie
a fine
would-
movie.
no, that movie
it's
would
not
have
bad.
been
They have
good
good
if it had
chemistry
a-
between him and
they-
Kobe Smulders.
Who? No,
Yes.
he didn't. That was forced. And
Kobe
same thing with
Smulders
the
is
random.
great.
There was also a kid in the movie. I remember
Her
now.
name's Samantha.
She was horrible, forced, horrible. I have in my notes. Hang on. I have in my notes. Annoying kid characters, annoying and pointless. That's how bad she was.
Your opinion.
Oh,
Your
right.
opinion.
So if
Oh.
Night and Day is so bad, then why did it make a profit?
I just said in the last debate, money is not a factor when it comes. Transformers made $1 billion.
Yeah, but it
And we can all agree, right? We can all agree. Transformers, not the best well-written movie. It's some dumb bullshit.
Yeah,
And
so
it made
is
$1
Night and Day.
billion.
All right,
So
boys.
is
the
Night and
first
Day.
one?
It's
Making
a popcorn
making
action
a movie's
movie,
budget.
summon blaster.
Wait, technically, how much?
Cam,
did
when
they
you
make?
cut them.
No, hold on. I
We're
got one more
still
point, I got one
going.
more point.
I'll
No,
yell
I got
out.
one
no,
more point.
no.
How much did Night and Day make?
Night and Day cost $117 million, and they made $262 million.
Technically, when you make
How much did
to
Jack
make a
Reacher 2 make?
I have no idea.
technically
Nobody knows.
technically to break even on a movie and to make 2.5 times its budget. So
Okay, well, now
technically,
we're
it
getting into
lost
semantics.
money.
But that's
Technically, it
that's on
lost
that's
money.
on average. That is not
That's the
film,
standard
film
rule.
to film.
Some movies are greatly more inflated. Some are less, but it's usually 2.5 times. Even if it's 2 times.
I can guarantee you the marketing budget on Night and Day did not break.
See, I don't even care about that. I'm talking
film.
about the movie itself. And the movie
But you just
itself
said, "Hey,
with
that's a
Jack
great
Reacher-
point, Tom," and high-fived him.
Maybe Tom's a good guy. Come here.
Hell yeah.
See what I'm saying?
Okay, guys. It's time for closing arguments. Thank God I got to shut up. All right. Danny, you are on the clock. On the clock, Danny.
Okay. Night and Day, ridiculous, stupid bullshit movie that's so forgettable in Tom Cruise's long spanning career. The Mummy and Jack Reacher Never Go Back are going to be remembered. The Mummy is great. It's fine. I shouldn't say great. It's good. It's not the worst piece of dog shit that everyone makes it out to be, and I put that solely on the marketing campaign. Dr. Jekyll being involved, I think it's a great kind of subplot. I like the ambition it has. I like the banter between Nick Moore and his buddy Jake Johnson. Jake Johnson. And Jack Reacher Never Go Back, it has the source material to lean on. It's got a backbone of very good material. Sure, you can disagree with Tom Cruise not being the right pick for Jack Reacher, but it's still a pretty good movie, and it's got a cast that's very, very good. And obviously, the show is better, but it's not a 1-1 comparison.
Okay. John, you're on the clock.
So like you're saying, they have all this source material and they completely disregard it. They didn't get anyone that was anywhere close to the experience that Tom Cruise. They just hired Tom Cruise for Tom Cruise. He's not physically demanding. He is not a stoic person. They needed literally the exact opposite, but they picked Tom Cruise. All the action scenes were bland because Tom Cruise hasn't done anything. All the firearm scenes were bland because he didn't have the effort to put into it. All of his stoic, like stone cold lines were not taken seriously because they're coming from a guy who was pretty much reading a teleprompter. When it comes to The Mummy was just a bad corporate movie from the get. No one expected it to be good. It had no shot to be good because of all the other shit that was going on. The fact that Tom Cruise was in it did not make or break that movie, whereas for Jack Reacher, it did make or break that movie. For Night and Day, Cameron Diaz and Tom Cruise's connection, believable and great. Him being in a charismatic role, great. Action, better action scenes. Not great. Dang it.
All right, Tom, you're on the clock.
The Mummy is the worst Tom Cruise movie because it had the most riding on it, and it failed miserably. Terrible acting, terrible plot, terrible. It destroys an established movie monster and just absolutely tries to rewrite it and kills it. Jack Reacher and Night and Day are just very mediocre action films that are really just sort of like one-off Tom Cruise movies that are, even though Jack Reacher's an established thing, just one-offs that people will forget about. And like I said, when Tom Cruise goes in the ground, people are going to say The Mummy is the worst because it started the Dark Universe franchise and torpedoed it. So it's just not worth it.
All right. Okay.
Nobody will remember Jack Reacher.
So,
Like he made a sequel? Side note, Dan, by the way, your hair, what are you doing to it, man? Putting gel in it? It looks great.
Read the room. Bro.
okay. So, like and subscribe, baby. That's it. So,
I hate it here.
This is your show.
Isn't this your show? Yeah, like you created this.
okay. I have a winner, but I'm going to talk about the others first. So, let's start with The Mummy. Yes, it's a bad reboot. There's a lot of bad things surrounding that movie. There's a lot of rewrites, a lot of directors that were involved, bad marketing, bad corporate greed. Like, the movie was doomed from the start. Doesn't win. Sorry. Let's see.
Anything to the contrary.
John.
Damn it. Well, now we know who won.
All right. So you said you couldn't remember a thing right off the rip about this movie. I was like,
Proceeds to say a bunch of shit.
boy.
I remember the bad stuff. I remember the bad
Recount.
stuff.
I am,
This
to be
is
fair,
crazy.
yes, there is a lot of bad stuff in this movie. Bad dialogue, bad. He's not Jack Reacher. He is not a 6'5", 6'6", 240-pound man like monstrosity like Alan Richardson.
I wonder what that
Goddamn
would look
legend. Danny. So you talked a lot about Cameron Diaz. You didn't really talk a lot about Tom Cruise.
like. I explained why.
I probably didn't hear that. Explain it again to me.
Whoa. Hey,
No, I'm gonna let him explain this. No. Let him go. Let him go. Go ahead.
Well, because Tom Cruise he's just a blank slate, and it's more about her anyway.
Okay, that's it. All right. That's not good enough because John won. So let's go.
That's right. Maybe I rip your arm off, beat you to death with it. I'm sorry about this.
John won because it's a mix of who Jack Reacher is as a character. Tom Cruise does not fit that profile, first of all, and he's just, it's garbage. It's not good. And Night and Day is not any better. I can tell you that right now. But like,
I'm gonna start buttering you up again.
no, it's not working. That doesn't work.
Well,
John just had the better arguments.
It
Sorry,
worked
buddy.
twice in a row.
Anyway, so we got one more week of Tom and John with us. We're Duel of the Debates. You can find us on Instagram and TikTok with @Duel of the Debates. I'm Dan.
I'm Danny. You can find me on Instagram at Danny_Wasp. My letterbox and serialize that DJ Wasp, or my YouTube channel, which is just Danny Wasp.
Make sure to check out our other channel, Seen It Before, next week when we have Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning, our episode on that. That is why we did Tom Cruise this week. You know, just a lot of Tom Cruise going on this May. It's going to be May. I had to say it. Sorry. Anyway, Tom, John, can we find you guys anywhere?
You can find us here.
Perfect.
Keep
Love
watching
it.
Duel Debates. Keep watching Seen It Before.
Exactly.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
All right.
Yeah.
Until next time, we'll see you next time.